What if addiction is not just about what's wrong, but about what's asking to be healed? Whether we faced addiction ourselves, witnessed it in someone we love, or pondered why human beings fall into compulsive patterns, there is ancient wisdom waiting to be uncovered in that very question. Addiction is often viewed narrowly as a chain of chemical dependency. But what if addiction is more than that? A language spoken not only by cravings but by fear, pain, and the body's desperate attempt to find safety when that safety has been lost. Imagine craving not just as a weakness, but as a messenger, signaling an unmet need within our deeper selves. Edgar Cayce, decades before modern psychology's understanding of trauma, pointed us in this direction. He taught that healing is not simply fixing one isolated aspect. It requires coordination. The body, mind, and spirit must begin to move in harmony for true wholeness to arise. He famously said, "Healing of the physical without change in the mental and spiritual brings little real help." In reading 606-1, Cayce described how uncontrollable appetites manifest when the physical body and nervous system weaken under ongoing emotional strain. He intuited what we now call dysregulation, that place where the body is out of alignment with mind and soul. So before we discuss recovery as a goal, let's briefly envision what authentic healing looks like. Healing, in Cayce's words, is not the absence of symptoms or pain. It is the return of harmony. It is when the body no longer wages war against itself, when the mind stops its exhausting inner battles, and when the spirit re-enters as the subtle, steady current guiding the whole. How can we tell healing has begun? Look for 4 simple signs. Patterns soften, no longer frozen in compulsive loops. A widening space appears between impulse and choice, allowing freedom. The body finally begins to rest, releasing chronic tension. And beneath it all, a deeper sense of purpose surfaces, displacing the hollow desire to escape. These are not miracles beyond reach. Rather, they are natural movements within us, resurfacing when all parts remember how to work together as one. There comes a pivotal moment in every healing journey when effort alone no longer suffices. We can nurture the body, discipline the mind, and tirelessly study the pathways of change. But true transformation begins only when we invite a power greater than ourselves to move through our being. Edgar Cayce called this alignment with the ideal. Dr. David R. Hawkins referred to it as invoking the higher will. Though named differently, both pointed to the same profound truth. Personal will may initiate the work, but it is divine will that brings it to completion. At this moment, we pause, just for a breath, to open the door to that sacred current. Quietly inside, we might say, "May the higher will of God and the universe move through my mind, my body, and my emotions. May it build in me the pattern of freedom that God and the universe can sustain for me." Here lies the instant when we stop trying to control the unknowable and instead allow the greater current its rightful place within us. This surrender is not a collapse into weakness, but a rising into a strength vast enough to carry what we cannot bear alone. It is this higher will that restores the delicate harmony that the mind, body, and emotions crave. And when we call upon it with genuine sincerity, the mind transforms, becoming builder of peace where once it constructed pain. In that transformation, the true beginning of healing unfolds. The gateway of the body. Edgar Cayce often began his readings by focusing on the body, recognizing it as the most honest part of our being. The body speaks truths unmistakably through fatigue, tension, cravings, and restlessness, signaling when something is out of balance. He understood addiction as a breakdown, a disruption in the delicate cooperation between critical bodily systems, the glands, the nervous system, and the eliminative mechanisms responsible for cleansing. When these centers of balance are strained over long periods by unresolved emotions or fear, the body cries out for relief, and when that cry goes unheard, it transforms into compulsive habits. In reading 606-1, Cayce specifically noted that disturbances in the glandular and nervous forces give rise to what he called uncontrollable appetites, the root of many addictive behaviors. Further, in reading 311-4, he emphasized the vital importance of simple supports for the body to find coordination again: clean water, massage, rest, and gentle elimination. His healing advice was deceptively simple but deeply profound, what he termed aiding the natural forces of the body. Drinking pure water, particularly between meals, helps keep the body's eliminative processes flowing freely. Massage and gentle physical movement awaken circulation and calm the nervous system. Consuming fresh living foods like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains alkalizes and rebuilds vital bodily tissues. Rest is not a retreat from life, but an active participation in the natural rhythms that sustain healing. Cayce taught that for true healing, the body must become the servant of the spirit once again, rather than the captive of the mind's fears and compulsions. When nurtured with these principles, the body transforms from a prison of craving into a vessel of peace, open, vibrant, and aligned with the soul's higher purposes. The gateway of the mind. Edgar Cayce's most famous phrase, "Mind is the builder," captures a profound truth. What we hold in thought, we give shape to inform. Addiction, according to Cayce, often begins as a repeated pattern of suggestion, a belief impressed upon the mind so deeply it becomes reflexive and automatic. In reading 1967-1, Cayce warned about the power of habit-forming drugs, like morphine and codeine, emphasizing that their danger lies not only in their chemical properties, but in their ability to enslave the patterns of thought that govern behavior. Thus, healing the mind means retraining belief itself. Cayce described this process succinctly with the term suggestion. He counseled those on the path of healing to begin and end each day with statements of truth, affirmations that align their thoughts with the ideals they wish to embody. He explained that the mind obeys its dominant image or idea. Therefore, it is vital to give it one worthy of obedience. Here are some of the empowering patterns of thought Cayce encouraged people to replace old limiting beliefs with. Instead of thinking, "I can't control this," begin to affirm, "There is a greater strength in me than this craving." Instead of "I am broken," remember, "I am in process, continually becoming." Instead of "I must escape my pain," allow yourself to think, "I can meet and transform what I once feared." To further aid healing, Cayce advocated what he called purposeful occupation, engaging in creative work, service, or simple acts of usefulness that redirect energy positively. When we engage our purpose, the mind finds rhythm. When we serve others, the mind finds rest. Through this process, thought begins to rebuild itself in the right direction, fostering recovery and resilience, the gateway of the spirit. For Edgar Cayce, true healing was fundamentally spiritual. He taught throughout countless readings that without an ideal, without the anchoring awareness of a higher pattern, nothing could remain whole. The spirit, in his understanding, was the universal law that holds all else in order. In reading 3983-1, Cayce warned physicians to be cautious with painkillers and narcotics, recognizing that the deeper danger lay not so much in the substances themselves, but in the loss of will they could bring. The essential cure, he said, was to rebuild the will in the image of the divine. This is the realm where we remember sacred practices like prayer, silence, and surrender, not as rigid religion, but as alignment with higher truth. When we give our will back to God, love, or whatever highest ideal we recognize, we stop fighting addiction from the small, fragmented self. Instead, we open ourselves to a greater current that naturally dissolves the craving for false relief. Cayce's guidance here is simple yet profound. Choose a single ideal. It might be love, service, Christ consciousness, compassion, or any word that resonates deeply with your soul. Hold this ideal in your mind every day as your guiding reference. When faced with choice, ask yourself, does what I'm about to do move me toward or away from that ideal? This daily practice transforms inner life because it replaces guilt, judgment, or shame with clear guidance and empowered direction. And when we see someone we love caught in addiction, this spiritual gateway is where our part begins, not by pressure or persuasion, but through presence, offering safety instead of control, patience instead of urgency, and faith instead of fear. This is the way we support healing without blocking it. As Cayce said, love alone can cast out fear, reading 262-114. Integration and reflective empowerment healing is neither instant nor forced. It is a journey remembered, one honest moment at a time. Sometimes the path begins not with dramatic strength, but with a quiet willingness to be guided, to let the greater will of God and the universe take its rightful place within us. As the personal will softens, the higher will begins to move, and what once felt impossible slowly becomes inevitable. Peace begins to organize what pain had scattered. Clarity rises where confusion once lived. The body, mind, and emotions begin to listen again to the same sacred rhythm. As we pause to close, we invite that higher will, called upon earlier, to continue building within us the pattern of freedom. No words are necessary. The heart knows what to say. Even the silent wish to be aligned is its own prayer. Whether we are healing ourselves or witnessing another's journey, we remember support is not pressure and surrender is not defeat. It is the way home, the way grace finds us when we stop resisting. From this place of quiet cooperation, transformation unfolds naturally, as it always was meant to. If this reflection spoke to you, subscribe for more teachings from the universe within, where together we remember the wisdom already within us.